What an absolute roller coaster weekend for the Toronto Blue Jays. Man, do we ever have a lot to talk about today.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as playoffs wind down. The sport stops sportsing like we want them to, but this summer FanDuel is hooking you up, all customers, with a boost or daily bonus. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. I'm Braden Wasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Braden5Wasco, Carter First 2, as well on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Blue Jays as well. Drop a subscription if you're new here on YouTube. And if you're listening everywhere else, we really appreciate it. A little bit of a crazy weekend from us. We released the episode yesterday, sort of going over some of the stuff that was going on through last week and a bit into the weekend, but of course, we were out at the friends' cabins, for those of you who listened earlier last week or later last week. And there was absolutely zero service. The boys were banged up. I don't even know what time we got to bed on Sunday night, but there was absolutely no shot of anything happening. We tried to do some TikToks and YouTube shorts and whatever to get you guys some content, but nothing was going as planned. We're here. We're rocking. It's Tuesday. Me and Carter both dead. I got morning shifts tomorrow. It's going to just a hell of a start of a week, to be honest with you. I don't know if my legs work as they're supposed to at this point. I think I was standing for like 24 hours, maybe more on Sunday. So Carter, a ton to get into, but how are you feeling after the weekend?
Yeah, I'm tired, man. Not enough, not a lot of sleep, but hey, I mean, it's a long weekend. They don't call it July short, so you got to go out there. You got to have your fun. A weird weekend from the Blue Jays. I mean, a great game, then a terrible game, and then a typical Toronto Blue Jays game, as I would put it. 4 hits against the Astros. You're not going to win baseball games. But as for the weekend, I had a lot of fun. Just a great weekend with a lot of friends. So other than the Toronto Blue Jays baseball, you go 1-2 with the games that we're going to be recapping here. Not exactly what you want. Like, you're not gaining any ground. Just kind of staying 7-8 games below 500. I guess that's just what this team is at this point.
Yeah, it's, we talked about before, there's a lot of people getting really pumped up about the split and, okay, the split happened. We're good. I don't take a split as a good thing anymore. I heard them a little bit talking in the broadcast today, which I was actually shocked about, but people saying that they can't come out of this with a split. They need the series win. You have to continue to win baseball games against the Yanks, and you need to be able to take series because as you go forward, the Blue Jays are going to have to start catching up ground. And yes, the split was great. We saw some good things. But overall, I mean, this team just isn't consistent enough to be able to win series. And I think that's where we're at. Yes, we saw glimmers of hope. Dow was out of the cabin with us, and he was saying to me how he thinks the Blue Jays are back. And I said, you know what? They're going to still have to prove something to me a little bit. I'm going to have to see more. I'm going to have to see consistency. And I think this first game of this Astros series was exactly exactly what we're used to. They went right back, reverted back to the Jays. Yes, Vlad looked great all weekend. Springer looked really good. JT was playing well. The whole lineup, I mean, really, it was all coming together. The bullpen was iffy again, but I think, you know what? I think the bullpen overall was whatever. They were whatever this week. This was just typical Blue Jays baseball, and I can go on and on about consistency here. But then you lose 3-1 to the Astros, and it's like, again, you come from a series tie or win back to exactly how they were playing before. There's no carryover. There's no momentum with this team. And I don't know. I felt pretty good coming off the Yankees series, to be honest with you. And then watching today's game killed me a little bit. I was almost like I could have predicted this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you go back just looking at the Yankees series, too. I think you win your first game 9-2, then 16-5, terrible bullpen day. Then you smoke them again 9-3, and then Garrett Cole just shoves against you, and then you lose 8-1. So there's, again, a lot of goods. The wins were very big highs, but then you get the losses. They're just absolutely horrendous. And then, you got the Houston Astros. You get Hunter Brown's been a good pitcher. But the Astros are going to be one of those teams if somehow this team wants to fight for the playoffs again. looking more and more bleak as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline. But that is a team you're going to have to beat if you want to have a shot at the postseason. And the Jays haven't done that. You look at pretty much anyone that's in contention, the Twins, you get the Royals, you have the Boston Red Sox, all those wild card teams. The Blue Jays do not have any of these tiebreakers. They've lost series to pretty much all these teams. Again, maybe we don't even have to worry about this. The trade deadline is approaching, and more news and progress is coming out that we're going to be moving on from a lot of players with expiring contracts. But yeah, again, you see some good things. Vladdy looked good. IKF looks great. But again, those two weren't in the lineup because the Astros, and you could definitely tell because there was literally no offense again from the strong Blue Jays team.
Yeah, so just going back, let's do a little bit of a recap. So Thursday, first game of the Yanks series, they lose 9-2. Yeah, just sort of a brutal game. Friday, 16-5, as you said. Saturday, 9-3. Sunday, 8-1, they lose. And then today, of course, they dropped the 3-1 game against the Astros. And Carter, I want to get into the Astros game because that one was a little bit more front and center for us. And I think what I might do is just leave that for a little bit longer. I need to talk just about this whole sort of where the fans are at right now in Blue Jays land, because you talk to one person, you're hearing something totally different now post Yanks series. You're hearing two very different things. And it's either they're back, they're going to be fine, the bats are heating up, they're going to get going, or it's they don't have any type of room to make a comeback here. So just overall, Carter, if you were to put your stamp on things as is right now, does this team do you think that they have the consistency or the ability to make the playoffs still?
Well, just looking at it right now, you have Vladdy on a huge hot streak. George Springer's been very good. Spencer Horwitz, IKF. This offense is starting to hit. Again, minus the last two games. So you only got 2 runs in your last 2 games. So that's the typical inconsistency you see from this Blue Jays team. But you're looking at it right now. All of these guys are on hot streaks, and we're still not winning baseball games. So, again, everything that you kind of looked at last season, you had not a great offense. I thought it wouldn't be – thought it couldn't get much worse than that. But then you have Kevin Gausman, who you could really rely on last season. He has a 4.75 ERA this season. The bullpen, one of the best in the league. Again, a lot of stuff happened, but it's just been a complete crapshoot with that bullpen. Not a lot of good pitching staff coming out of there. Zach Pop didn't look great in the Astros game. Again, the only ones you can really rely on right now is Chad Green and Trevor Richards. Those are the only 2 options you have. You can't throw them, obviously, every single outing. So it's like we always say, again, there's no way this team is firing on all cylinders. They always have to have one of their limbs just kind of falling off, not being useful. And whether it's the pitching, whether it's the offense, you kind of get the entire weekend. It just shows exactly what that is. You score 5 runs against the Yankees, but then give up 16. Again, you sometimes score 9, but then you score 1. So you need to be more consistent. And if you're looking at it right now, I'm going to say, yeah, there's no way the Jays are making the playoffs because it just hasn't been consistent this entire season.
Yeah, and that was sort of my sentiment too, is I look sort of back at all the series that they've played and done well in and then fallen short and then done well in and then fallen short. And doing well for this team seems to be a split or a 2-1 series win. I don't know, Carter. They need to really pick it up. And I was telling Dal, sort of talking to him, I said that, he's just they just don't have it. And you know what, he was on the horse of that they can start to bring it back here. And I'm just not convinced yet. I don't think this is a playoff team. I don't think that they just, like you said, can't seem to put everything together all at once. And that's a huge component. It's get everybody hot at once. That's exactly what you need. And this team can't do it. Good teams get into the playoffs and then everything comes together and everything starts to click. But Carter, before we hit the break here, I think let's just get into the Houston Astros game here, game 1. Yariel Rodriguez, hat tip to that guy. Give him his flowers. What a day. This is it's one of those things. This team just needs some guys to step up sometimes, and Yariel stepped up for them, and it still wasn't enough, which was very frustrating. But huge hat tips to him. That was a fantastic game to watch from him.
Yeah, he's such an electric player when he is throwing well. A guy that hasn't pitched into the 5th inning at all until this game. Goes 6 2/3 innings. Again, stuff looked great. Only gave up 2 hits. Had that 1 home run from Jeremy Pena. But up until that point, he did not allow a base runner to reach. So a very good start from him. Somehow still gets the loss after that. It's absolutely ridiculous. But again, his stat line here, 6 2/3, only 1 earned run, 6 Ks, 2 walks. That's all you can ask for. Again, it's somehow not enough. And that's just how bleak this offense looked. Like Bo Bichette, not great at bats. Kevin Kiermaier, multiple spots again in this game. You go in the 8th inning, you have a chance with the bases loaded. You don't do anything there. You have another one in the second inning. You had runners on 1 and 2 with no outs, and then they had another opportunity with bases loaded, 1 out, and just you don't score. And that sums up the Toronto Blue Jays season. They don't get hits in the clutch situations, and that's how it's been this entire season.
Well, Carter, I even looked at the hit. Obviously, I went back and looked at the stats, and the Blue Jays had 4 hits. And I was so close to being like, you know what? You can't win with 4 hits. You just can't do it. You need more hits than that. And then I looked at the Astros. They have also 4 hits, and they're winning ball games. But it's the consistency that the Toronto Blue Jays are doing this in. Getting the low hit games. They seem to just the wheels on the wagon completely just fall off and crumble to dust, it seems like. Because this was just horrible. Ernie Clement, I mean, good on him. He got that ball out of the park. That was nice to see for him. But I mean, yeah, overall, you can't score 4 runs or 4. You can't get 4 hits and expect to do anything. Like, I'm sorry. Great. The Houston Astros sort of proved me wrong here today because they did it. But in the entirety of baseball, 4 hits is 98% of the time not going to win you baseball games. I don't know how much longer we can continue to have this conversation about getting hits, but man, I don't know. It's so tough because at some points this weekend I was so thrilled and so happy to be a Blue Jays fan. I'm like, they're back, the boys are back. Even before this game started, they did their Canada Day intro, and I'm like, man, you know what? This right here, this feeling of togetherness as a country, the unity of everybody. I'm like, this is why it's awesome to be a fan of this team. This is why it's great. And I was feeling really good, and I'm excited. And a Jays fan should have been excited seeing that. And everybody coming out, the guys delivering the jerseys to the veterans. It was a really, really nice moment and made me pump for the game. And then they go out and they get 4 hits and lose the big game 3-1. It was sort of just like a high to a low. I was thinking, you know what? Maybe this is the start. Maybe the boys are back. Maybe I was being a pessimist. Not so much. Not so much. But Carter, I don't know if you have anything left to say just on this game, and then I think we'll sort of do a quick look back over the last couple as well.
Yeah, no, not much to add. I mean, this game feels like it's happened 60 times already this season. The Jays lose 3-1, 2-1, 4-2, whatever it is. Team just doesn't score runs on a consistent basis. I get surprised, again, in the Yankee series, this offense actually did score some runs. Helps when Vladdy's hitting 6 home runs in 8 games. Also helps when IKF, all these guys, George Springer, can actually hit baseballs. That's how you're going to score more runs. But yeah, nothing else to add. Just we need more consistency from this offense. If Vladdy is out with an injury, it looks like a hand thing. He was sore, couldn't really grip the bat. IKF, it was in stretching, so that one I'm a little bit I'm monitoring that one a little bit more closely. But again, not too surprised, unfortunately, from the outcome, especially with Hunter Brown on the mound. I think in his last 5 starts, he hasn't allowed it in a run, and the Toronto Blue Jays offense isn't good. So didn't think we were going to change that. But I mean, yeah, here we are. Hopefully can pick up the next 2 games, but I feel like this hope, we can say this every single time, and the Blue Jays just don't really help us out and deliver on this hope exchange.
No. And I mean, you know what? I was going to say maybe things will get better. We can move on to another topic, but the topic we're moving on to is some more Blue Jays losses. So just hold on one sec. We'll be right back with all that. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open my app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. As I tell you guys, I love FanDuel. It's one of my favorite apps on my phone. I go and I use their same game parlays because that's the only way I can win. As soon as I try to build my own, I might as well throw it out the window because that bet ain't winning. And I've been trying to bet more on the Blue Jays, and it's been working because I've used the same game parlays, and you can build it. I don't go wins or losses because sometimes I don't know what the team's going to throw at me. So I go with the player props. I love them. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something new for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. So, Carter, we got tons of games to get into. I'm sorry if I seem a little discombobulated today. I am absolutely gassed. We played... Carter, I don't know. We had the slip and slide going. We were in the lake. I cut up my leg like crazy. My stomach's a mess. I'm just It looks like somebody took a knife to me at this point. I got so cut up on the slip and slide. And then we played the most electric game of beer pong maybe to ever exist in the world. me and Noah Chamberlain versus my brother Jar and Carter, and the boys pulled it out after almost collapsing a 7-1 lead. Just crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah, I think we needed 7 redemptions. We only got 6. Just an unfortunate outcome. That one hurt. That was that felt like a lot of the Jays losses this season. Definitely a comparable pain for me. But yeah, I guess we'll go into more of this Yankee series here. Again, like these games. You have 2 good games to recap, then you have 2 games. It's like, oh, this is why I hate watching the Toronto Blue Jays, because I don't know, like that's game again, the one on Friday. 16-5. I don't really want to talk about that one at all. That was an absolute bullpen collapse. Just horrible baseball to watch. I didn't end up finishing watching that baseball game because I didn't know if it was going to end ever. I thought I was just going to be watching Blue Jays misery for an hour and a half in that 8th inning there. But so I'm going to move on from that. I don't know if you want to bring up anything from that Friday game. But
the only thing I got for that one, honestly, is I was sitting on the couch and I thought time just didn't exist. Like I that could have been 19 hours. It could have been 37 days. I have no clue because that was the longest game of baseball ever be played. And I didn't know what to do. I made a pizza and I just let the pizza go cold sitting on my counter. I was just not like, I wasn't hungry. I was just in like awe of what was going on. Brutal game. I don't even want to talk about it. There's not much to say. I think we just sweep that one under the rug and move on. But you know what? In saying that, then of course, the boys pick up a quick win. But then we're going to have to get into the 8-1 win, which there wasn't much there either. But let's start with the 9-3 win that the Blue Jays got because that was a fun game, Card.
Yeah, Chris Bassitt just continues to be the hound on the mound. His ERA is going lower and lower and lower. It's at 3.24 now. And this guy just goes out there and he's going to give you 6 innings of 1 to 2 run ball. And that's exactly what you need from this pitching staff, obviously. The offense actually scores runs. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a massive game. This was the heard around the world game, Vladdy legacy game. It's going to go down in the history books. So 5 at-bats, 3 hits, 6 RBIs, which is massive for him. He's up to a 297 average. And Vladdy, he's getting the power back too. 6 home runs over his last 8 games. That is a ridiculous stat. If he can continue to hit bombs, not necessarily at that pace, but if he can hit bombs, starting to go out into the gap, it's definitely going to help his offense immensely. There is one person that I do want to go into here. I figured I was going to check these stats out because Bo Bichette's at-bats. I don't know what happened to Bo Bichette, man. I don't know. He's swinging at junk. He's not having a good contact whatsoever. And this is the one that hurt me a little bit here. So George Springer has an OPS of 641. Bo Bichette's is 619. We give George Springer so much grief and so much negativity on this podcast, which is sort of deserved because of how bad he was hitting. But Bo Bichette has a lower OPS than George Springer. What's the problem with Bo? Do you have anything to add? Is it just he looks unserious at the plate right now?
To be honest with you, my takeaway from what Bo Bichette's at-bats are, I think it comes down to the effort level and the care. I think the care is gone. This team wasn't doing anything. They've got a mountain to climb to get to the playoffs, and Bo Bichette is ringing between the ears because he just doesn't care. That guy is seeing stars right now is what my take is. There is no... He doesn't see this as his home for the next probably a few years. I think he thinks that a trade is going to happen. And so this isn't his worry. That's my personal take. That is complete, speculation, if you want to say. But I think that we have to look at this realistically. There doesn't look like a lot of care for Bo Bichette's at-bats. And I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that sees that, Carter. I'm assuming you're seeing the same thing. It just looks like a bit of like lackadaisical at-bats.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the problem is for Bo Bichette because this guy is a free swinger. He is a good bad ball hitter, so you can't really fault him for swinging at those kind of pitches. And just looking at those stats, they are fairly similar numbers from year to year. So that's not necessarily a problem with Bo Bichette. One thing I do have here is off-speed pitches. That'd be like change-ups. Anything along those lines, he's only hitting 111. That could be a problem for Bo Bichette. I know a lot of sliders, but that would be a breaking pitch. But sliders for sure, low and away, have been getting Bo Bichette. He hasn't really been taking the ball opposite field. It's just the contact isn't really there yet. Again, he's a guy that you got to hope is going to figure it out. And obviously, with the way the trade deadline and the season is going, Bo Bichette is going to be in a lot of these conversations. You see Vladimir linked the Astros, and they saying he'd be open to playing for the Yankees. Those are some rumors we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have to deal with, and we're going to have to get used to because when you play this brand of baseball, it's just it's not going to go too well for you. But with Bo Bichette, you would be selling low on this guy, but for a guy that has a very good pedigree, a very good history, you still would get a boatload of things for Bo Bichette. But like we said on our last podcast, I believe it was, we don't want to move on from Bo Bichette. We want Bo Bichette to figure it out. We want every single Blue Jays hitter to hit like Babe Ruth. That would be our dream. That's exactly what we want. We're not hating on, well, we are hating probably on some of these players, but we're not doing it from a personal standpoint. We're just breaking down their stats and just kind of what we're seeing with Bo Bichette carrying. I don't know. It's tough to say about that, man. It's for me, like, it's tough to be happy when you're hitting like Bo Bichette right now.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so
for
the facial
sure.
expressions and stuff are hard to take away from, but I think he does care. It's just nothing's going right for Bo Bichette.
Well, don't get me wrong. I know all these guys care to an extent. These are still their stats. They're still trying to play for their team. But I think it's not helping Bo Bichette. Maybe I could have worded this better. It's not helping Bo Bichette that there's no end goal in sight. It doesn't seem like this year. So for him to go off and have the past 3 seasons where he goes nuts and plays amazing and leads the AL in hits, to come out with it with nothing, I think I would assume is weighing on him. And maybe it's just a mental thing for him. Maybe it's even not meant. Maybe he's not meaning to be taken out of the ball game. But I think when you do so much for a ball team that doesn't win, maybe you just lose the little bit of compete for that ball club. That's just, again, my theory, my personal thing. But I don't know, just the way he's walking around. The facial expressions have never been great with Bo Bichette, as anytime. But this specific time, I think, just isn't looking good for him, and it's probably because he's not hitting well. So.
Yeah, and like we said before, if Bo Bichette gets traded anywhere, I know he's been linked to the Dodgers. I don't know if that would happen. If it did, we'd get some good players back. But if he went to play for the Dodgers, he'd just start hitting 350. He'd probably be automatic. He'd have so much protection in the lineup. Be reunited with Teoscar Hernandez. Bo Bichette on the Dodgers, definitely don't want to think about that too much. But one thing that does get me with this Bo Bichette stuff is that you haven't had any success with this roster whatsoever. You haven't gotten a playoff win. So again, if nothing's working with the roster you have, at some point you got to think there has to be some sort of change. Does that mean Bo Bichette should get traded? I don't think that would be the change that would matter for the Toronto Blue Jays team. Maybe it's the support pieces. Vladdy's been hitting. You just need George Springer, honestly, and Bo Bichette, the guys that you're paying the big bucks, not necessarily Bo Bichette. B is going to get a boatload of a contract in a year and a half from now. So those guys, you got to rely on your dogs, and most of these dogs, other than really Vladdy, have not been hitting. So that's where I'm at with Bo Bichette here.
Yeah,
as his barrel percentage is down 5%. It's really the only other thing I've found. It is it is lower, but not like crazy drastic. But yeah, hopefully Bo Bichette can figure it out. Again, probably shouldn't be leading Bo Bichette off when he has an OPS worse than George Springer. Hide him farther down the lineup, and then you put George Springer forward. That one makes a little more sense since he's been hot. But with Bo Bichette, I think you got to hit him low until he figures it out.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what, Carter, I think somebody that got overlooked from that game on Saturday, I think, with the star power that Vlad has, a guy that gets overlooked, a guy that me and you are now quite high on, is IKF, going 4 for 5 at the dish. Just doing what that guy has to do. He's playing his brand of baseball. I love it. He was absolutely electric, Carter. I don't know what else to say about this guy. We keep having to bring him up because he's playing so well for this ball club. He's one of the very few this season that's been very consistent. You always know what you're going to get out of IKF, and I am so here for it. Good for that guy.
Well, a guy is hitting 292 and has a WAR of 3.1. I did not think I'd be saying that with IKF. Again, that was probably my worst take of the Toronto Blue Jays offseason, was that I wasn't happy about the IKF signing, because where would this offense be without a guy like IKF? Again, Vladdy has 6 RBIs, but somebody has to be on base to help Vladdy get those RBIs. And IKF was exactly that. This is the guy that you probably should be hitting number 1 in the order, just how good he's been. The average is there. The on-base percentage is there. An elite defender. You're getting it all with IKF. Just a great baseball player to watch. No flaws in his game right now. Ride the hot hand. Continue to have IKF hitting high in the lineup. I like something like Horwitz, IKF, Vladdy, and any of those three in any, honestly, scenario for me is good, because just have your best 3 hitters get the most at-bats. I think that's the point that I'm at with this team. I just don't want to see Kevin Kiermaier at-bats. I'll give George Springer a little bit of a break here. I'll take a step back. You give us a little bit of a stretch here. Just got to see more consistency from the guy. But, yeah, I guess that'll take us into the 8-1 game.
Yeah,
Garrett Cole. The one thing I want to bring up quickly about that was Garrett Cole is Vladdy in the hand, and then I love how Kevin Gausman goes right back and just chucks one at Aaron Judge. I think that was a message sent there. You got to protect your guys. You got to protect your superstars. So good on Kevin Gausman for that one.
Yeah. I was going to say that's the first thing I was going to bring up. I want to give the guy an applause. It's too bad that Garrett Cole wasn't at the plate to get, back in the day. But it is what it is. I mean, I still like it. It shows that you're a team. It shows you got your guys back. Same thing. I mean, I don't know. It's stuff like that. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about those scenarios when a guy gets hit. But in that case, for Gausman to go out there and do that, I love it. I think that's part of the game. I think that's how you protect players, like you said. I remember actually there's one game we played, Carter. I think I don't know if it was high school ball or club, but Evan Erickson got plugged, and my coach just gives me the yeah, go for it. next batter, bang, you have to throw at him, and it just is what it is. And obviously you don't do it dangerously. You don't go for a guy's head or ankle or something like that. Throw it their hip, and good enough, right? Terrible to say. Terrible influence I am. But no, great to see. Great team spirit. That's part of it. I mean, not a good day in the rest of the ball game, but I don't know. I love to see that stuff. That shows that the boys are connected, that they're trying to battle it out together. I like it.
See, I think it also helps me that it was Garrett Cole that did it too. So you can't let Garrett Cole get away with anything, even if he meant to, even if he didn't. He's hitting your star. One of those things. It's an eye for an eye. You can't let that go unnoticed, especially against a division rival in the New York Yankees. But again, I wanted to go into a little bit more negative stuff here. Kevin Gausman, man, he's not looking like himself. A little bit of a down year for sure for Kevin. Thunder.
Holy dude, did you see outside there?
I didn't see outside. I can hear it though.
Holy, that was crazy. Sorry, quick thing. That was nuts. It lit up my whole room. That was nuts.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I guess we'll go back to Kevin Gausman here.
Yeah, might as well. Keep it going. It's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, Gausman, I don't know if it's the split or the fastball. The fastball is not looking great this season. He does have the velocity on it, but I think his command has kind of suffered a lot this upcoming season or this past season, the way we're going right now. You have the pitching staff, like your Yariel Rodriguez looks good. Like he's going to be a spotty guy. Chris Bassitt and Jose Berrios have been really good. Again, the starting pitching staff isn't necessarily the problem, but it would be nice if you could have Kevin Gausman down to like a 3.5 ERA. But I'm not really going to harp on Kevin Gausman too much. Wasn't great again today. You would want him to be better, but there's so many more underlying issues with this baseball team. If this offense was clicking, the bullpen was good, and Kevin Gausman was like this, probably would give him a harder time. But when Kevin Gausman's going out there one every 5 days, when this offense just fails to score runs consistently, it's tough to get hard on one of your superstars like that, because next year, he's going to go out and probably be a Cy Young candidate once again.
Yeah, and I mean, Carter, I talked about with the whole Bo Bichette thing, it's such a mental game. Baseball is probably one of the most mental games out there, and it weighs on you when your guys can't back you up, and I think it really can drag you down, and I feel like that's a big component here for the entirety of the pitching staff, and it's great when guys can go out there and put on all-star performances, but you can't expect that every night. And so guys are going to get in their head. They're going to have to think about everything a little bit more, about every pitch. And I don't know. I'm just a little bit over talking about, the mentality of a losing team. I think that's very tough for me to say because I'm not in there. I'm not in the dugout. I'm not knowing what these guys are all going through together, but I can't imagine it's anything good.
Yeah, all I'm going to say about the way this Jays season is going, going to leave it at this. Just take the Yusei Kikuchi moments in. Just enjoy watching Yimi Garcia. Maybe throw Danny Jansen in there. Just enjoy watching these guys while they're here. Because the way it's going, it's looking like the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be moving on from these guys. I think Yusei Kikuchi he's in his last few games with the Toronto Blue Jays. So especially with him, I think he's gone. I think Yimi will be gone for sure. Justin Turner might be gone, honestly, for us. Hopefully, Kevin Kiermaier is gone. Love the guy as a person, but his at-bats, I almost think that I could have better at-bats at this point. Probably, honestly, not. But, it's not looking good for Kevin Kiermaier. So he is still an asset, too. He's great defensively, obviously. So a team might want Kevin Kiermaier, $10.5 million, only 1 year. Not the greatest contract, but, hey, money has no value in the MLB. And
that's right.
Organizations buy players. That's just how it is. You look at the New York Yankees, the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani's contract. But I think this is going to take us into the next 2 games of this Astro series. Yusei Kikuchi is pitching the 3rd game of it. We have Jose Berrios coming up in this next game. Again, I'm hoping for 2 out of 3 here. But again, we'll get more into that. But before we do head into this Astros preview, I want to throw it over to our Locked On 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today, or the Amazon Fire TV's channel app. whether it's the WNBA, the major four sports, college sports, you name it, expert analysis on 24/7. So whenever you want to tune in to check that out, take the opportunity. So yeah, we'll head into the Houston Astros series coming up. I've watched pretty much every Toronto Blue Jays baseball game up to this point. When I watch the Blue Jays games with my friends, we always find ourselves making little wagers and predicting the future outcomes. So it's like strikeouts, double play balls, which obviously we see a lot of with the Toronto Blue Jays team. But Prize Picks gives me the opportunity not to just prove myself to my friends, but make some money off my picks as well. So don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond into your Prize Picks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more than or less than and add them to your Prize Picks entries today. Prize Picks is very simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entries in as little as 60 seconds. If you know which players are going to perform on specific nights, this is a no-brainer. Download Prize Picks and start making your picks today. So you can download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100. Here on Locked On Blue Jays, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team. Whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs, it's really year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming for you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A-plus rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have a complicated matter that requires tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. See the link in the episode description below.
Okay, got that first try. I love it.
Yeah, that was a battle. I'm after this weekend of activities here. My throat's so sore right now.
Oh yeah,
we're running off of no sleep here, so I was struggling a little bit at that last ad there. But again, it's a long weekend. I had a lot of fun. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Great weekend all around. Other than some of the Toronto Blue Jays baseball that again wasn't paying as close as I normally do to as we were outside. Definitely keeping up on the score. Had the game on at my phone a couple times throughout the day. But I just wanted to sit out in the sun, kind of enjoy the company of our friends that seeming like more and more we don't have those moments as much. So
yeah,
at least the Blue Jays are playing pretty much every single day, and you know what they're going to do on every single given night.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is one of those things. I mean, I was sort of sitting out there, and I'm, we don't get to hang out with the group as much as we'd like to anymore. Everybody's busy. Everybody's growing up a little bit here, so you sort of lose some of that time. I mean, we say that, Carter, but then we'll probably see everybody next weekend. But no, I don't know. You know what? All I can do is what I've been trying to do lately when watching Blue Jays games is just enjoy watching baseball. I mean, it's only here for so many months a year. And then, of course, it's hockey. I love my hockey. I'll watch that. But I mean, baseball is just something different. I love it. So it doesn't really, I hate to say this, it doesn't really matter how bad this team is because I'm still going to be watching constantly. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it makes me want to put a hole in my wall, but also it still is baseball. And at the end of the day, it's Blue Jays baseball. And I'm just thrilled to be watching and talking about it. The guys were all at the cabin this weekend and we were just chatting it up. We were throwing the football around, chatting it up. It was chatting up Blue Jays baseball. It really doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, and at least right now, it's either the Toronto Blue Jays maybe turn it around, they start making a push for the playoffs, or we get them. You just keep getting shook from by this thunder. Hey, you can't handle it.
Well, I'm getting the lightning first, and then I'm waiting for it, and then I turn back, and then the thunder goes off too. I don't know. Anyway.
It is quite the storm outside right now, but maybe that's just the Blue Jays bringer of rain is back. Maybe that's what we need. I was just going to say the trade deadline's coming up. Now we can start just making the most ridiculous trade offers to every single team. And we're going to get Luis Robert Jr. and we're going to give them, we'll give them the rights to Addison Barger. I think that would be a pretty good deal for the Blue Jays. But so a trade deadline, at least you'll have some trades. You'll be able to see some prospects. I know I'm not a huge prospect guy, but it is something to get excited for. Obviously, we're going to be producing content as well, going over these games. Maybe we'll get a little bit off-brand as well coming up, depending on how good the Toronto Blue Jays baseball is. We can do some Toronto Blue Jays related segments that me and Braden have been discussing. But I guess we'll go quickly into this last Houston Astros game. So this is your favorite player, Braden. It's Spencer. How do you say his last name again?
Okay, come on.
Spencer Arrighetti versus Jose Berrios. Jose Berrios is one of your guys that is going to go out there and usually give your team a chance to win. But Arrighetti is not a great pitcher at 5.68 ERA. On paper, you should win this baseball game, but the Toronto Blue Jays are just a ridiculous team. You can't really assume too much, because in the Toronto Blue Jays ways, most of the time they're going to hit off like a fairly good pitcher, and then they're going to have the worst pitcher of all time, and he's going to go 7 innings of no runs. So
yep.
We'll see what happens here. Hopefully the offense can activate. Hopefully Vladdy and IKF are okay and are able to be in the lineup. The offense is way more fun to watch when those two are in the lineup compared to some of the other players playing right now. Yeah, I mean, we say this every single day. If this team wants to make the playoffs, they're going to have to win baseball games, obviously. But it continues not to happen. They continue to be last in the AL East. I think it's 9 games away from a playoff spot in July. That's obviously not great. A lot of surface to recover, long road to 500 even, never mind the playoffs. So they want to actually make a move. They want to keep this team together before the trade deadline. They have probably about a week or two to start winning.
Yeah, and you know what? It sort of goes back. This is my goal for the season now, is just to beat the Rays in the standings, because I can't remember when it was. It was like the beginning of the year. We did like our season preview with all the Locked On hosts, and me and the Rays guys sort of threw a little back-to-back shots. So I'm still like, keeping that in the back of my head to try to win the bets. I might shoot him a message or something at the end of the year, hopefully. But that's the end goal for the Blue Jays for me at this point. I just need them to beat the Rays in the standings.
But yeah, that's a tough goal to have. When you're like going back in the offseason, I think you had the Jays as a 90-win team. Yeah, good luck with that one. But I wasn't close behind you. I think I had them at 89. So it looks like, unless Toronto Blue Jays going to insanity run, it's not going to go too well. Yeah, in July, just hoping that we don't get last place in the AL East. Let's go. That's exactly where I wanted to be. Like, it's not good in Blue Jays land. It's the mental image right now. The mental standing is it's fairly low. But again, hopefully Spencer Horwitz can hit home runs. Hopefully Vladdy just continues to rake. Maybe IKF will be the AL batting leader this season. Maybe we just go for that. Start that narrative. Get him going even hotter than he already is. Maybe Kevin Kiermaier will hit one baseball. Maybe that's what we can hope for as well. Maybe one. Like that might be too much to ask. Just want to say thank you guys for watching. We appreciate the likes, comments, subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. Like Braden said, we're in Locked Bonnie. I actually had a reel/short made with Dallin Wilton, who you've seen on this podcast. But I tried to post it, and I got up to 4% posted. And then I couldn't even send it to Braden because I tried to call him to go to this golf course we were going to. And I was breaking up on the phone call. So good thing I wasn't an idiot and I crashed my car or something, because I had no service to literally call anyone. So that's an unfortunate thing we didn't really foresee. I think there was Wi-Fi at the cabin, maybe that one night. But again, even that was spotty. So I'm not sure. We didn't really want to mess with it after the first 2 days of just not being able to post anything. I was sort of over it. I do have the TikToks made. It's just I don't know if it's worth posting 3 days after the baseball game happened. So
yeah, I don't know who would care necessarily at this point, but it was good. I heard it was funny. I heard Bubba was in it, so it's too bad. But you know what? It was just there was so much going on this weekend. It was absolutely ballistic. I had the Bombers out. We didn't get home till like midnight that night too.
They're 0-4 after being a playoff contending team and a Grey Cup contending team over the last 5 years now.
I don't know who the Locked On Winnipeg Blue Bombers guy is, but Jesus, that's tough. No,
you better be ripping that team heavily right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. Tough injuries over there, but yeah, it's unfortunate right now. I mean, the thing we have to look forward to the most right now is just the Canucks signing players in the offseason, like Jake DeBrusk, like that's the highlight right now. Can't watch Bombers football, the Panthers. I mean, it's starting to come. I guess I could have some false hope for them as well. At least they have more of a direction, more of a standing. The Toronto Blue Jays are in an interesting spot. They can go take this a ton of different ways, and I guess that's what we're going to have to see what happens in the next month, because this team could, for some reason, buy at the deadline. They should sell probably at this point, or they might just try to do a little retool. So I guess that's kind of where we're at with Blue Jays baseball, unless they can prove us wrong and start winning games, because right now their best winning streak of the season is 4. So that's not gonna go too well when you just lost 2 straight series less than a week, or just over a week ago, I guess it would be now. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I want 1 win, 1 out of 2. Hopefully we can split the rest of this Houston Astro series. At least taking 1. Just don't want to get swept. But there's not a lot of confidence in the Blue Jays right now, unfortunately.
No, I'm with you. I just, you know what? I'm just going to watch baseball and have a good time watching baseball. That's my goal. I might need 19 beers to do so, but we will watch the games. hopefully you guys like the shows coming out. Sorry about the weekend. We really wish we could have got you guys some content. Stuff's gonna happen. We do these episodes every single day. We're doing stuff constantly. There's gonna be some times where some of this stuff doesn't go our way. But we're back on the grind. The boys are back. And yeah, we're gonna feel good. We're gonna hopefully will this Toronto Blue Jays team to a couple of victories here. So tune in tomorrow to hopefully show us that we're somewhat right. And I'm not in a hole 6 feet deep somewhere. But thanks for watching.